Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on, man?
That's not much. Let me. I gotta lock up a door. Hold
Yeah.
on. I'll be right here. Sorry about that. Can you hear Josh? Josh Ritter?
Is that who you're playing? I was trying to figure out who you're playing.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll turn that down. And I found out what that echo was. It was
Oh, yeah?
from my computer speakers.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I don't know. It's interacting with the mic, so I just unplugged them since I don't use them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that might have been it. I also had another idea. So,
Hit me.
well, I was talking like 3 feet away from a wall.
You got a haircut.
Yeah, I did.
I still don't have a camera.
Yeah.
As B-roll, I just thought of a question because I was reading, listening at home,
Yeah.
and The Stranger came on by Billy Joel. What's your take? What's your take on whistling and like clapping and like extra like auditory inputs into music? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it made me think. I think that's the greatest whistling in a song.
Yeah.
I can whistle worth a bean.
I'm not a good whistler.
Yeah, you can whistle.
Yeah, but not like I can't do a tune.
Yeah. You know that song? Doo-doo-doo. And it's got just solid whistling in the beginning, and then that made me think of Cake going, yeah, like when they do that. I dig when they do that. And then it made me think also of there's a band in San Diego, out of San Diego, that claps really well. It's a band called Pinback.
Huh.
They use clapping really well.
I'm all right with it if it works.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-whistling or anything.
I know. Do you think? Does it make you think of anything? It made me think of Cake, and it made me think of.
Oh, no.
What?
I'm trying to think of any songs that I really like with
It's a dead end.
with like a whistling in it. Yeah, I don't know. What are some famous?
It's not our first, and it won't be our last.
Yeah, the Andy Griffith Show is the only thing coming into my head.
Oh yeah. Wind, as you said that wind. Remember "Wind of Change" by Scorpion?
Nope.
I can't whistle for the beat, but he goes, the wind of change. Remember that? It was
I just said I don't remember.
Do you remember Scorpions? Remember when they came out? The wall came down because they're from Germany.
Yeah, I don't remember them at all.
What? All right.
Dude, listen, man.
All
I'm
right.
way
That's
older than I
okay.
am, and I didn't.
That's okay. That's okay. All right, we ready to record? What's our situation?
Yeah, situation? Hey, I think there's some Gloria Stefan songs with whistling or.
I'm sure that's true.
Something about the rhythm is going to get you. I think.
Have you heard? This is still B-roll. Have you heard that new Bon Iver?
I have not heard it yet.
Yeah, I was hoping it would be on my 5 best, but it's a letdown.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I don't know. I don't like it at all. There's a lot of people that I like that are liking it.
Yeah. But
I can't find what they're liking. It sounds like a Justin Timberlake album.
Right? That's how I feel.
I know. I was anticipatory. I was so excited to hear it.
This is a super unpopular opinion, but I don't like Bon Iver stuff at all.
Really?
I don't like his old stuff either. Like I don't dig it. Like
his first one, Skinny Love. I love that song.
It's all about like weird sounds and stuff, and like he makes some strange noises, and I'm not into it.
Yeah, he takes that to the limit now.
Yeah.
He runs his vocals through all kinds of processors and uses.
Well, I'm glad to hear somebody else doesn't like it. That's encouraging for me because it always makes me feel better when somebody else agrees.
It's easier not to like things. That's what I was thinking when you guys were bagging on Bruce, the boss. I think you might take a look into his biography. It might.
I don't care. I just don't.
it's really interesting. That guy is a really interesting dude.
I agree. I don't disagree, and I don't even hate all of his music or anything like that. I just am not enamored by him. Like I don't love his stuff, man. I'm sorry.
His biography is really, it's good. And it made me think of our C.S. Lewis versus Tolkien, like he, like in his biography, you're hearing about him. It's like reading the Gospels or like reading of, and whereas reading Paul would be like listening to his music,
No, I don't know.
That's why
I think you've lost your mind.
I know. I was thinking that as I was reading the biography, because it was really he's seen stuff, like it's crazy.
That's true. He has seen
his buddy, his first drummer went off to Vietnam and was the first person from his town killed. And like there's it's just crazy. He's got all kinds of, you live in life that long.
Yeah.
You experience stuff. And so it's really interesting. And he's got a like a poetic voice, like his, like, I don't know. It's like reading his songs. He just writes a certain way. So
that's cool.
Really well written.
I'm glad you're digging it, man.
Yeah. I know. You're not going to get convinced. You still hate me, but I still love you.
I don't hate you at all, bro. I don't hate you at all.
You know what I like about
what's that?
Everything. That made me think of when you were like, you said, tell your dad you're no longer a Catholic.
Oh man, yeah.
You're a super Catholic. I love gems like that just keep on giving. Every once in a while I think of that story and I just, it'll bring a smile. It'll make me get it.
I've brought that up a few times with Kyle since then, and that has never gone well. That is not a happy memory for him.
You remember when we were at his wedding, I said, like, I didn't like Catholics. And everybody got really quiet. I said, tell Kyle. Kyle really convinced me that Catholics love Jesus.
I forgot all about that. Everybody was so drunk they didn't care.
All right, I think it's my turn to talk. Right?
It is.
Let's start it. And we're this is Five Best. I'm Jason. That's my buddy Greg.
Hey.
And he puts this all together, but he's a pastor down in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a pastor up here in Muskegon, Michigan, and we became friends about a decade ago, and we met in San Antonio. We're doing college ministry together, and then we just decided to stay in touch and continue, pushing each other on in our walks with Christ or God or whatever. And we get together and we talk about the 5 best things that have happened to us or we've heard about or we've experienced over the last week. And we just see it as a way to connect and just keep our friendship going. But if you like it, make sure you subscribe, and not only subscribe, but give it a high rating. Recommend it to your ma, to your pa. Our love's going to grow. Wow. I think that's the second or third time I've done that. But
I think it's way more than that.
It just rolls into Dylan, and that goes into my.
That's that number one, huh?
That goes into my first thing that I'm going to mention. No, we should mention. There's no particular order.
That's right.
But Bob Dylan was nominated for a Nobel Literature Prize or whatever, and that's not my 5 best. My 5 best is that he hasn't even acknowledged that he's been nominated.
I thought he won a Nobel Prize. I thought he won it for literature.
Yeah, or something. I don't know, but he hasn't recognized it.
Yeah, they can't get a hold of him.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
Yeah,
that is because he's poetry and he's like a lyricist and he's rock and roll. Like, I don't know. There's something.
Yeah. He's still anti-establishment. I love that.
Yeah.
I would take a prize. That's where Dylan's has more integrity than me.
Yeah.
Because I'm with him on all the anti-establishment stuff, but if they want to give me an award, I'll take it.
But it's been but it's been rolling around in my mind. Maybe I don't know, maybe it's convicting that they're giving him this award.
Yeah.
Because the last couple albums, he just show tunes. He's kind of gone into like,
yeah,
I don't know, like Sinatra or something. Like with age, like he's gone this different genre of music, and I wonder if he's like feeling, no, that's the me. You're trying to give me a prize, the me of the past.
That might be right. I don't know. I haven't thought about that. That's a good observation though. I was thinking, did you see his, like, what Obama said about him?
No.
It's pretty fantastic. So Dylan shows up for the White House, whatever, like he gets invited to play a song because of this Nobel Prize thing or whatever it was. It might not even been related, but he shows up and like Obama says usually when they have people come in, they come in and they practice, they do a sound check, they do all this stuff. They want to get pictures with him and his wife, and they want to make sure the White House is a really big deal. And he said, Bob Dylan came in at the last second, played his song, went and shook President Obama's hand, gave him a nod, and left. And Obama's line, which is perfect, is like, it's kind of the way you want Bob Dylan to be.
Yeah.
And he said you want him to be skeptical of the whole thing. You don't want him to be, you don't want him to be a fanboy of the White House. Like, that's not who he is. So I thought that was fantastic.
That is fantastic. And that sounds like Obama's got some insight. That's neat. That's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't one of my 5 best, but I knew it was going to be one of yours. I was sure of it. So
yeah.
I actually went kind of music heavy this week on my 5 best.
Mine was totally music until I was like, dude, I can't just keep doing music. So I had to cross a couple out and put other stuff in. So, but yeah.
I'm gonna go on the record now and assume that even if all 10 of ours were music, yours and mine would not ever overlap.
No. Well, they might,
It's possible.
Remember back when that country guy that I discovered after you,
Yeah, that's true. It does happen. It does happen.
Sorry, I'm blowing my nose here.
Oh, that's super good podcasting right there.
Praise ye the... Okay, go. What's your first one?
Oh man, my first one is since you're started with music, I'll start with music. And you should know going into this, I have zero credibility in this field at all. But I really like and have started to get into Chance the Rapper.
Okay.
He's a different cat, man. I don't know. There's something about him I really like. He was on Fallon recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I think, but I finally saw that and watched it and listened to it. And you can get his entire album for free. He doesn't sell albums. You download them or stream them or whatever.
Huh.
And it's his newest one is Coloring Book, but the song I really like is Blessings.
Blessings. Okay.
And he has the regular version of the song, and then he has a reprise of it. And they're both really good, but he does the reprise on Fallon, and you should look that one up. You'll love that. It's ridiculously good.
Did he play on Fallon, or was he interviewed?
He did both.
Yeah. So, that's excellent.
Yeah. And so
I like to hear you anything hip hop.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I liked hip hop.
Blessings.
And then I stopped liking hip hop.
Yeah.
And he's bringing it back for me a little bit.
There's a loose connection, and follow me with it. I was watching Kimmel, and he interviewed, I think her name's Idina Menzel or whatever, the Frozen girl.
Yeah, Frozen lady.
And I can't stand that even genre of music, it kind of hurts my soul sometimes.
Yeah.
But the interview really influenced me. And so I borrowed borrowed the CD from the library, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, okay, I could see, because she's a Jersey girl. I don't know. It's just like some interviews just make it it or break it. Anyway.
And she's somebody who's like in love with Matt Damon, right? Is that the highlight of that interview?
That was the highlight of that interview. But some people like interviewing works. Like it captures captures them maybe off their guard, or you get glimpses.
You connect with them,
real people. So I'll Chance the Rapper, Blessings.
Yeah, look his stuff up. It's really he's an interesting dude all the way around. He's trying to do some interesting stuff. Some really provocative lines in Blessing that are really good. I think there is some explicit songs on there, but I don't think Blessings is. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I've listened to it 4 or 5 times. I really like
it. That's an interesting, piece of rap.
Yeah.
How they all thank God, and then they always have. You remember, like MC Hammer had "Pray," and then the next song was "Soft and Wet," It's like, what? Like it was like, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just confusing to me. But Chance the Rapper, Blessing. I'm gonna go listen to it.
Yes,
okay.
Go listen.
I'll do is we'll keep going on the music and then we'll get off the music.
Okay? All right. It's up to you.
There's a Google phone commercial out, right?
Yes.
Have you heard that? You know.
Yes.
And the first one that they came out with, it has just this repetition of a guitar riff. Dun, 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 dun. It's got just it just grooves.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I used my Shazam or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And that's a band, Django.
Yeah.
And the song is Default. And I can't, you know, like there's some songs you just can't stop listening to. Every time I pull it up on YouTube and I plug it into my stereo and I just rock the house with it. It's happened probably every day since last like Thursday or Friday. So it's been
Django. Is any of their other stuff any good?
I don't know. I haven't heard any of their stuff. I was just that song.
Just that one song. Yeah.
Yeah, it's back to the top 40, you know, like whatever. I don't know. I just really dig that song. Gets me moving.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's
that one up, man. I don't even know. You didn't give me anything to work with there, but that's awesome. I'm glad you found a song you like.
There's zero like depth in that one, but maybe you could talk a little bit about what are those songs that pop out that you just can't. I remember the first time I heard Beastie Boys.
Okay.
Cruising down the street in Massachusetts. I remember what's that? What's the big one off their first album?
Fight for Your Right to Party?
Yeah, Fight for Your Right to Party. I was going straight through Medway. I was on Main Street in Medway, Massachusetts, and we were cruising. There's trees. I remember it was around the fall time when I first heard it, and it came on the radio, and I just remember singing, "Holy smokes!" I don't know.
I'll tell you a song like that for me right now that's in commercials. Is have you seen the iPhone, the new Apple Watch commercial?
No.
Where it's like all these people being active. Oh man, I'm gonna blow this.
We're not the best riffers.
No, I was really hoping you would have seen this commercial.
Yeah.
It's a really old song, but it's like it's done in such a way where it's like it starts really slow and then it like gets real fast, and it's like an old like, oh man, like Ella Fitzgerald, or not Ella Fitzgerald. One of the Simone.
Oh, Nina Simone.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna run to?
Yeah.
I love that song.
That song's awesome. I didn't know that was her until like I thought it was a dude, and then my brother's like, no, totally. I think that's, and it's like, well, that's a great song.
Yeah.
And that one jumps off the, like when you're watching it works perfect with what they're doing with it. And it's like, oh, I like that song. That's good.
I dig that one. That's a good. We saved that one.
Yeah, rallied. Good work on that, man. And I didn't know it. I just knew.
Just to circle back and kind of bow tie some of the things. Last week I mentioned a book we couldn't, but Medium is Message was the book I was trying to think of that mentions that the printing press changed.
Oh yeah, sure.
How we did church.
Yeah.
And that brings us back full circle to when we first met. Because remember, Phil, every time I met you, like, we were hanging out with Phil Majorans, and he was the one who introduced us. But every single time the three of us were together, he was saying that. Medium is Message. Medium is Message.
Yeah.
Remember? That was funny.
Yeah, so for a bit of background on that, that's a guy named Marshall McLuhan.
That's the name.
Yeah.
That's the one I couldn't do.
And he's, I don't know. You gave me nothing to work on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's almost irrefutable. Like, I think he's absolutely right that the way you receive the information matters as much as the information itself, and that there's a reciprocal relationship between the two.
Yeah.
And what he's particularly critiquing, I think, is the idea like that you could, for example, now he's talking about like huge like commercials and like actually this is an interesting tie-in because this is a conversation I had with my son this week about. Calvin was just shocked that somebody would say that the elections could be rigged. And so we got talking about it, and I said, well, what would have to happen for it to be rigged? And we kind of went back and forth for a while. And then I said, well, how would you know if it was rigged or not? And he goes, well, I'd see it on the news. And I said, right. And who owns the news? And he's like, well, nobody. And I said, really? And then we kind of walked through how the medium of the news is actually owned by all these other corporations and
Yeah.
commercials, and that it's that as long as it benefits somebody, and anyway, it was my whole conspiracy theory stuff on.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, it turned out to be a fun, like, he finally went to bed thinking, oh, it has to be rigged. And I was like, well, then I've done my job.
Crushed a dream. Check.
Yeah, because there's zero chance it's not rigged. Like, every election everywhere all the time is rigged. So that's, I don't think there's a student government election that's not rigged, but so I'm sure the big one is.
Amen.
But anyway, the point of all of that is that the medium is the message. I think it's almost unarguable now. Are you getting a weird staticky fuzzy thing?
No. But yours is the most important, so my thing is still unplugged.
No, I think that's good.
I was hoping we'd steer clear of the election still, but we're
good. I don't want to go any further on it.
Good. But I just wanted to circle back, and I'm glad you remember the author of that medium is message, because
now that you gave me something to work with,
yeah. Is it yours or mine? Which one are we on?
I don't know, but you gave me the most obscure part of that whole book and asked me to remember what the book was. That book's not about that.
Yeah, it isn't. And actually, I don't even know if it's in that book. I know it's in Shane Hips. There's a guy named Shane Hips who wrote a book kind of based on medium as message.
Sure.
And the fun thing about Shane Hips is we graduated Fuller together.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's gone a lot further than I have. He
wrote a book, man.
Yeah, he wrote a couple books, and he was this pastor of this huge church in Colorado. But that's the end of that story. Okay,
good story.
Is it two? I've done two.
You've done two. I've only done one. So
okay, it's yours.
And we're sticking with music. So my second one is a musician I really like named Conor Oberst.
Ah!
Is he on your list?
Yes! We overlapped! Holy cow! Holy cow! That makes it so if this other one that we don't overlap on, I can use it now.
Okay, you can use it. That's awesome. His new album is absurdly good.
It's phenomenally good.
Yeah.
Have you read anything about it? He moved
a little bit, like he was like stuck in a snowstorm or something.
Yeah, but he moved back. He lived for a decade in New York, and recently he's moved back to his hometown of Nebraska.
Yeah, Omaha.
Omaha. And so I don't know. I think that's in there. The reason did you see that NPR Music broadcasted live, and I think you can still find it on NPR Music's Facebook page. They broadcast him live playing at some bookstore or a CD shop in Nebraska, and he just owns it. Like he is. Yeah. I commend that guy for he found it and did from it. Like I don't know. Musicians sometimes find it and then they try and grow. Yeah. And try and grow into something, and sometimes that works. Inventing themselves and finding these new sweet spots. But Conor Oberst, you can't make. He's the good Dylan. Yeah. For 10 albums now. I don't know. It's just I'm really pleased.
Yeah, I don't love all of his stuff all the time. Yeah. But this album to me is like, I think it's his best sounding album maybe ever. Or it's maybe the most listenable or something, but it's really dark. Yeah, like it's really, really dark and sad in a lot of places.
And he came out with a live album a while back, and that one's the only one that I think in my mind that's tied. Okay, I forget. I think it's called In Motion, or
I really liked
something to do with motion.
I'm Wide Awake. It's Morning.
Yeah, I do too. And that's in my CD case of I can listen to it anytime.
I just felt like the first time I heard that album and that song in particular, I think it was like, oh man, this guy totally gets kind of what it's like to be alive right now in the world. Yeah. And then when you listen to this one, it kind of feels like he's never stopped writing those things, but I don't know. I think like you said, he hasn't tried to totally reinvent himself, although he's not doing like punk rock or whatever. But it's his songwriting is so good. Like, yeah, his phrasing and the way he captures ideas, right?
Yeah, I love the song. in the NPR thing, I don't know the name of it, but in the NPR thing, he says this is dedicated to Jesus Christ, Gandhi, or whoever, just fill in the blank. And it's the song about everybody, like when something's good, people they always start off liking it. But at some point,
oh yeah. I was wondering what that song was about. Calvin and I were listening to it in the car yesterday, and it's a brilliant song. It's the You Loved Him Once.
Yeah, You Loved Him Once, and it's just
such a brilliant song. It took us all the way through it. We were like, "Who is this about?" And then we kind of like, it might even be about Jesus. And I was like, "There's no way Conor Oberst wrote a song about Jesus."
Yeah, he says it
terribly.
he's just tying all of, all heroes of history.
Yeah,
they always have this quality that they're amazing until automatically, at some point, for some reason, they're not.
Right.
And it's seen by the public.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, they haven't. I love that tune. I thought they nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's funny that we had the same one finally. That never happens.
I know. That's the first time. We should buy
a real long shot.
We should buy each other a cake or something.
Hey, so that there's a really great review of that album on The Ringer.
Okay.
If you go in and look up Conor Oberst, yeah.
I was thinking about buying that album and mailing it to just people, just sending it out as gifts.
So one thing that's like, I don't know. Are you on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Amazon, if you would like to sponsor our podcast, you're welcome to do it. But with your Amazon Prime, you can, if you buy a CD, you'll get the automatic MP3 of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I always like that.
I do too.
Because I haven't actually got the hard copy of the CD. I think it comes today in the mail, but
cool.
But I've listened to the MP3 of it a bunch of times already.
A+, man.
I really like that.
I'm celebrating that we have the same deal. That's a good day. My third. Let's see. I think my third. That's just cool. Now I got one to play with. So my third is The Pressure's Off by Larry Crabb, and I don't think it's that good of a book, but it made my 5 best. It made it on my 5 best because it's about one of my favorite things to think about, and I think it's one of my biggest just riverbeds that I fall into as a trap. The Larry Crabb is writing to become pharisaical, just to become to miss the gospel because of trying to live up to the gospel, and it reminded me of Tim Keller's Prodigal God. Have you read? I think that's already come up once or twice in this, but I liked the book. There's things I like about the book, and there's things I don't like about it. The things I don't like about the book is it's kind of like that pop Christianity.
Yeah.
And it's just like it makes a book out of one sentence, really. And that one sentence is, we always try and earn our salvation, but we need to stop before anything, and before we try and do anything and receive grace. That's basically the book, but it just repeats that over and over. So I don't like that it's like that pop Christianity, but I do like that sentence is one of the sentences that continues to challenge me. It continues to, that's a place where the discipline side of me loves getting stuff done and getting results and working, and if I do this, I fall into this trap of I should get this, our lives should be better and blessed. And I think Larry Crabb nails it on the head, just saying that's false, and that's anti what the message of the gospel is. Which is so it's such a natural, when you receive the gospel, when you receive the good news that you're loved no matter what, I don't know why, but it's just so natural for for me in particular, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but to try and do, you know, you know, like that reminds me of where what's his face, Barry Sanders said, "We do," and all the news guys were just repeating it over and over, the comedy guys. But anyway, that's my number 3. That's the third one I've mentioned, I think.
All right.
Yeah, The Pressure's
Off.
Off. Pressure's Off by Larry Crabb.
Larry Crabb.
Yeah. You might just take a look at it and get challenged again.
Yeah. Well, if I'm at like an airport or something, I'll read the back of it maybe.
Phil always says, Jason, that's what I like about you. You're always wanting to be convicted.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
I think that's and there's another one if you want to pick up and just convicted and pointed in the right direction. That's another plus to the book, because a lot of times books will convict you but not give you
much to go on.
Yeah, much to go on, but I think he points us in the right direction.
Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, I haven't interacted with that or really any Larry Crabb.
Yeah,
that I can think of. All right, well, good. Yeah. While we're talking about reading stuff, I've got a blog post on Cracked that came out this week that I sent around. I think I sent it to you already, but it's how half of America lost its effing mind.
Yes,
and it's
that was on the teetering with mine too.
Yeah,
might have made my top 5.
Man, it's one of the best things I've read about the divisions between rural and urban America, and
it's probably the thing I've shared most.
Yeah,
you know, I have copied and pasted that and texted it to so many buddies, and
yeah, if you want to find it, just Google how America lost its effing mind, and it's a really interesting read. The guy argues about like 6 or 7 different things, and each of them are about the way sort of rural America interacts with the world around them, and why Trump is compelling in some of those places for some of those reasons.
Yeah.
And I thought the most astonishing thing in the article was the map of how counties vote and how cities vote.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing to me. Because the basics of it are like, there's so many counties in the US, but so much of our population lives in the city. And all of those counties, almost across the board, vote Republican.
Yeah.
And then cities almost entirely vote Democrat. Another
real shocker was the suicide rates.
Yes.
In the rural parts of the country. That has totally slipped my eyes. Like, I hadn't seen that. I was like, whoa, that's staggering.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that.
My one kind of critique of it is I wish he hadn't have used so many expletives.
Yeah,
because I wanted to put, because if it was a little cleaned up, I would love to post that as a Facebook. You know, like a
yeah.
I would love to get that out there to more and more people. But yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's the one downside to it is there's a lot of swearing in it.
Yeah, but I think it's. You know, I wish that he didn't, but I'm really kind of glad that he did use all those expletives, because I think
he used them well.
I don't know. We could get into a debate about, holy cussing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So what am I? Yeah,
that's my third one. You're on your number 4, man. We're flying.
No, I think I've done 4 already. I did.
No, you have not.
Oh, no, because I've crossed off all these ones.
Yeah.
If you've done or whatever like that. Okay. This is my number 4?
Yeah.
Holy cow. You might have even taken, I mean, more do I have? Okay. I got, okay, the next one was, I was hanging out with a pastor buddy of mine. He's a guy named Doug Moorhead. He's a pastor over some Greek named church. It's like a non-denominational. It's kind of one of those bigger churches that's in town, Wisconsin. And I'm from California. We were just talking, and he simply said, Jason, culture is real. And it was just one of those things that every once in a while your guard's down and something just just gets in like and thinking about, how Michigan culture is different, and how I'm not, like some things are rubbing me the wrong way, and some things I'm probably rubbing people the wrong way. And him just naming that was just one of those cool moments when God uses a brother, to doubt, stating the obvious is, just stating the obvious in a way that I heard it in a new way.
Yeah.
And it's real. I don't know. It's that it blew my mind at the moment, that he said it. And it's actually set me free a couple times, just because he was telling of times, because we send our kids to the same Christian school, and he said, right after he told me culture is real, he was talking about how he was dropping off the other day, and he took 3 or 4 people, and he asked them 3 or 4 questions each, and he said, Jason, do you know how many people asked me any questions? 0,
Yeah.
And that's just Western Michigan culture. It's just they have their family, they have their friends, their kind of lives are full, and there's almost an East Coast understanding. You're not from here, you don't know here. So it was just one of those, and so I didn't feel so alone. I was like, oh, okay, these people aren't meaning to be kind of jerky. They're just, culture is rubbing me,
Yes.
I'm just misinterpreting, like I'm not understanding the culture that I'm in. And they're not, there's a big difference between them intentionally making me trying to make me feel alone, and them just being them.
Right.
And me not understanding, oh, okay, that's just not the way it is.
No.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that piece for sure, right? I mean, like,
yeah.
And it can work in our favor and it can work against us. And I think as a church, that's one of the things that if you think back to like Niebuhr's like church with culture, church against culture, like all of those things, it's like it's one of the reasons he's wrong about that, is because the church, like, we become cultures, right? We become little cultures.
Yeah.
In ourselves, and it's not against or with or what, like we're just constantly interacting. Like I remember I think Richard Hayes once said that there was, like, sometimes we talk about church and culture in the first century, and he's like, there was no crystallized church ever. Like, there's never a time where your church isn't also part of the culture and vice versa. Like, they're not two separate things. They're just interwoven to such a degree that you can't distinguish them all the time. But part of that, it makes the like racial reconciliation so much harder.
Yeah.
Because there's even more layers to culture then, right?
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons it's so hard to do. One of the reasons I think churches don't do it is it's not just sort of blind racism. It's also just the level of difficulty to get through those layers of culture.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was really cool, and so I'm grateful that Doug Moorhead.
Yeah,
that's
super cool. And it's super encouraging when somebody can name something like that for you, so you can remember. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, that's where it is. All right, you're number 4.
All right, my number 4. This is a little bit of a longer story, but I think it's funny. So if it's not, sorry. So Colette had her tonsils out yesterday.
Yeah.
So we went to the doctor's office, or the surgery place, and they did the surgery. They took her tonsils out, all that. And so one of the follow-ups from that is you have to go get this medicine. And I almost never go to the pharmacy unless I'm really sick and have a prescription, or I'm picking up a prescription for kids. And so, like, I'm convinced if anybody could figure out an alternative to pharmacies, they could make billions of dollars, because it's the worst, like, whatever. It's the worst store to go into in our culture, I think.
Yeah.
It's just a disaster. But so I went to one, and I brought in my prescriptions, and I gave them my prescriptions, and they said, "Oh, we don't have this. You've got to go to a different one." And I said, "Oh, well, could you just tell me which other ones have it so I know where to go? And the lady looked at me and said, no, we don't have that information. I'm like, you don't know what other chain, like what other, like in your pharmacy chain, like I went to a Walgreens, you can't tell me if another Walgreens has it or not? No, we don't keep that kind of information. I'm like, how would I find out? Like, how would I know if they have it or not? And she said, well, you could call them. I was like, or you could call them. So she goes, well, I'll call one other store. And I was like, I don't care how many you call, as long as you find out where it actually is. I don't want to drive all over San Antonio looking for this drug that apparently is too hard for you to find. So she calls this other one, and the other one has it. So I go over there, and classic, like super busy. I give them my prescription. She says, we have all that, great. And it's going to be 15 or 20 minutes if you just hang out here. And I said, I will wait for 15 or 20 minutes. That doesn't seem too bad. So about an hour later, I still have not got my prescription filled yet. And there's a guy who comes in who's, well, actually I know is exactly 1 year younger than me. And I know that because he had to give them his birthday when he was trying to get his prescription. So he goes up to the counter and he tries to get his prescription filled. He gives them his last name, and the lady grabs it. She goes, yeah, we have 3 of your prescriptions right here. The total is going to be $580.
Oh.
And the guy's like, oh, well, that's going to be more than I want to pay. And she said, well, do you have any insurance or anything? And he gave her like some coupons and some insurance stuff. And she said, well, I can get it down a little bit, but it's still going to be like $500. And he said, boy, that's not going to work for me. Like, I don't, like, this is too much. And so at the Walgreens, they print out these sheets of paper that are basically the instructions of how to use each of the meds. So each sheet of paper has the name of the medicine and then like the amount you take.
Yeah.
And then how you take it. And then they fold them into like thirds and they staple them to the bags that they put the medicine in. So this guy said, well, here's what I want to do. I'm going to call my doctor. I'm going to sit right over here and call my doctor and see if there's a different kind of prescription he can give me that we can maybe work this out. And she said, okay. And he started to take the papers with him. And she says, oh, you can't have those. And he's like, what do you mean I can't have them? And she's like, well, you only get those when you get the drugs. And he said, right, but they're my prescriptions. And she said, yeah, but you get those when you get the drugs. And he said, and like this, like you could tell like how mad and confused he was all at the same time. And he said, how did you get them? And she said, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, where did you get these from? And she said, well, your doctor called them in. He's like, right. Why did he call you with them? She said, probably because you told him to. Right. So the only reason we're here having this conversation at all is because I told the doctor to give my information to you so I could decide what to do about it when I got here. Yes. Okay, so I would like to take these and go sit over there and call my doctor and see if he wants to switch up to something else. Yeah, you can't have these. Unless you take the drugs. And the guy looked at her and he goes, it's my information. Everything you have here is the information my doctor gave you about me. Oh. Yeah, but you can't get these sheets unless you take the drugs. He goes, but I don't want to buy the drugs because they're too expensive. And she just would not back down. And his final retort was, as long as we agree, it's just because they're your stupid rules. And he got her to agree to it. And he goes, well, your rules are the important thing, I guess. And then he went and called his doctor anyway. But I've almost never in my life wanted to stand up and applaud a total stranger in public before. But it's the most asinine thing in the world. It's like, of course it's your information. Of course you should be able to have that. Like, why would he not be allowed to have his own information? It's just, it's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like it is funny. It just reminds me of it, but it's also so upsetting that there's so many things like this.
It is.
It reminds me. Remember when I was buying the house and I ended up yelling at the loan officers, you know, is this the first house you've ever sold? Like,
Right.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's too many places like this. It's upsetting, you know. So I part laugh and then part just start to get furious about all those times that you're like, this makes zero sense.
It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, zero sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I laughed, but it's like there's also tied to that sort of like blessing and curse of like the blessing to be able to have the perspective to realize like, oh, this is probably fixable. I just needed some information. And then the curse of, oh, but I'm going to have to deal with somebody who just cannot get out of their own way on this. Like, they just do not get the bigger picture here at all.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Yes. That one can be really frustrating.
That's a good one because it's got me thinking.
And the other good news there is Colette's feeling really good, and that seems to be working so far. So far, so good.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I guess my number 5. But yeah, my number 5. There's a couple here, but I'll go with last Friday. My daughter turned 7.
Yeah,
Elsie turned 7, and as a celebration, we went up to a place called Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh yeah, with like indoor water parks and all that.
Yeah, it's an indoor water park, a hotel thing like that. And you know me, I'm not that kind of guy, you know. I don't know. I was like, okay, this is gonna be kind of lame, you know, just because I don't know. I'm a naysayer. Sometimes I'm just kind of grumpy for the wrong reason, you know, just for no reason. But we went up there, and we went up to Traverse City, and we were up there, and we check into the room. The room has like a bunk bed. It's like a wolf den, which was pretty cool. But then I get my swim shirt on, which is pretty amazing look for me, with some board shorts and some, and we go down to the water park part of it, and they dump like 1 billion gallons. I don't know how many gallons. I probably could read. There's probably a sign or something like that. But there's this big bucket that once it fills, it's like a big like a water tank. Yeah. And once it fills, there's a ding, 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 and then it just dumps all this water, and it actually kind of hurts. It's like it's a lot of water. But it just it just it brought forth. Do you remember in Gilead? The book you recommended I read. You remember that book? Gilead? When he says it's moments like, and he's watching his son, I think, either get baptized or just play in water. And he says something like, it's moments like these that you realize that the primary reason for water isn't to be clean. It's for something better or something bigger or something like that. It just made me, it was kind of like a remembrance of my baptism, or remembrance of, you know, what's important. I just, this powerful water hits me upside the face and just covers me. And then I look over, and my daughter is just smiling from ear to ear. Yeah. And it was kind of like, shame on you, but oh, I'm so glad for that water dunk. The reminder that, and it saved me from missing it. You know what I mean? And so then I just attacked it. And Elsie and I and Zeke were just running Zeke is more of the cautious guy. He's like, I don't want to go on that. And I said, it's a water slide. Come on. And so I was just making him go on all these things. And so he was starting to love it after the third or fourth time, you know? Yeah. I didn't break any laws or anything.
Once his hatred for you wore off, he really loved the water slide.
Once he got past the tears, he was enjoying himself. But he seriously, actually, the first time he was just like fired up. But Elsie's just, it's so fun. And that was another kind of, I can squeeze that into this 5 best. It's just so cool to see in our children so many things that are outside of us. You know, like they're not, like Elsie is beyond. She's taken my kind of spunky side and taken it outside of the bounds. Like, she is fearless, and like it's just incredible to watch. I just wow, that's amazing. And then Ezekiel is taking kind of like the cautious analytical side of Malia and taking it further than I think even Malia goes. Like, I think there's something special and brilliant about that guy. So it was just fun to
That's awesome.
praise God and not miss the moment. Yeah.
So that's my 5. All right, man. I'm gonna use that one as a segue into my 5th one.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about the water thing. Actually, is in this week's lectionary readings is Psalm 65 and then Joel 2. And Joel 2 has this image of God bringing rain to the world, and then also like opening up the like sons and daughters will prophesy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's held with Psalm 65 has this amazing, like, it starts with a guy who is broken and sinful, whose sins are forgiven. And then it goes from sins being forgiven to the land being plentiful and God pouring out water and feeding and bringing fruit. And it has this sort of like that and Joel 2 both have this sort of like apocalyptic kind of end of the story sort of feel to it, of like, oh, this is God describing what the end of the world's going to be like, which is that heaven and earth coming together and the earth kind of blooming and blossoming in ways that it can't right now. And and as I was reading that, I just kept thinking, like, man, the connection between our forgiveness of sins and our salvation and what God has for the entire world and all of creation, that connection is really a big deal in Scripture in some places. And I think, to me, you and I go back and forth on like natural revelation and like seeing God in creation, and then mountains and trees and everything else, and lakes and oceans and all of that. And that doesn't usually do it for me. Like, it's just not the way I'm wired. But I do like this piece of creation is just waiting and groaning in anticipation for salvation to finally be complete, for humanity to finally get its stuff together in Christ, right? To have the world finally put right, to have heaven and earth meet each other. It's like, man, that part I can get behind and get excited about, right? And like even thinking about like your piece on water there too, like just to be at a lake or to be outside, like it just rained here this morning, and to see the rain and think, man, this is only like a taste of what God pouring out His blessing is going to be like someday.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That is cool. That's a nice foreshadowing. That's that here but not yet kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I there's a good Crowder song about that. I think he is a worship song. Dave Crowder has a good worship song.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of what it is. I know there's a building, and he repeats. He's talking about the building and building and building, and then he goes, "Salvation is here."
That sounds like a Switchfoot song.
It's a Switchfoot song. It's not even a Crowder song. No wonder I was way off. Samsonite. Salvation is here. That's the song I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Salvation is here. I love that. That's good stuff. I'm gonna try and find that before the end of the day.
There you go. Who can't riff now, man? We're going back and forth on songs.
Bada bing, bada what?
Not even the right bands or anything. We all over.
Two of the same ones.
Something about a building.
Crazy. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Two.
Yeah, that's never happened to us.
When it rains, it pours. That's crazy.
I think the Olympics were the last time we had an overlap.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and you went with like archery or something, so I wasn't even really an overlap.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
Right, buddy. I love you, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Everybody subscribe and like the podcast wherever you get it from, please. It does make it easier for other people to find us. One of these days, I'm actually going to have stats for us, but right now I don't have them. So,
do they make them?
I don't know. Maybe not. I might just make some up. That's probably the best move.
Yeah. Remember that one wedding we were sitting next to each other and the pastor was saying,
"Oh my gosh,"
and you were saying wrong. That's a lie.
He just made that up.
There's no way that's true.
Yeah, the eighth meaning of this Greek word is seatbelts. No, that's not right. There's no chance that's true. That wasn't the example, but it was something like that. It was just that absurd.
That's good. All right, it's good to laugh. I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace.